There's two paths to success in business. You can either blaze your own trail where there's a high risk of failure, or you can follow a proven path of success with a trusted advisor. What you're about to see in the next few minutes are several of our clients tell you why their decision to follow a proven path of success with our company as their trusted advisor was the best decision they ever made for their business, their employees, and their lives.
Okay, so when we brought Pascal in, as she was doing her job, she had revealed to me that there was some embezzlement going on with my company. And she had put some things in place to where it wouldn't happen again, and it was in the sum of over maybe $100,000 that was taken out of the company by this particular person. But other than that, what it did is we were able to structure things in this company where you can see things in real time, so things like that wouldn't happen again. And it hit me one day. I was just sitting there, and I kept hearing this break-even thing. I kept hearing it over and over, for like 3 days when she was just trying to get me to absorb it. And when it finally hit me what break-even meant, I realized what avenues I can go with my break-even. So what it allowed me to do is figure out what I was profiting on my volume and my middle and my low point. So it gave me a sense of direction. It gave me more control on what direction I should take my company. And it was like a miracle, a small miracle to me, because I never had that before. And finally, I can go after volume, and I know that I can bring everything down to 10% if I go after volume. If I don't have the volume, then I'm going to be hitting anywhere from 20 to 25%. And the other thing that I realized is that I wasn't making any money on them small repairs. And I was only pulling a quarter of what I should have been making on these repairs. So a repair that was $500 are now like $1,500. That is where I was losing a lot of my money, was on all the little things. And what it did is it helped me structure everything all the way around, and it helped me put a cap on everything for once. And for once I had a clear-cut profit insight on my company that I didn't have before.
So on day one, our consultant George sat down with me in my office, and we were going over with the plan of attack on what we were going to do with the business. My phone kept ringing, so finally I answered it, and it was the garbage company coming to pick up the dumpster, and they needed the gate opened. So I excused myself, went out, hit the button, opened the gate, came back in, sat down, and George asked me, "Who was that?" I was like, "Oh, it was the garbage company, needed the gate open so they can pick up the dumpster." George looked at me and was like, "Don't you have other people in here that could handle that kind of thing?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "We're going to fix that." So from that point forward is where we started our process of fixing the company and restructuring. One of the things that George implemented was weekly meetings. In these weekly meetings, we go over the key metrics of the company. There's 22 key metrics that we look at, and we review these with the management team, the operations, field manager, and the CFO. By me looking at all these numbers, I'm able to make sound decisions on how to steer the company in the right direction, and also problem solve when we don't meet our goals or meet our numbers. Another great thing about the numbers is I'm able to implement a quarterly incentive program for the employees, because in the past we did an annual bonus around Christmas. Now, doing it quarterly, by making our numbers and watching the numbers, we're able to share that profit with the employees, which has helped with morale and productivity. After implementing the changes that George made, the company saw a 20% increase in gross sales and a 40% increase in net profit.
My consultant Van showed me a process called blood walling, which we discuss all our issues that we think we're having with the company. He brought up each and every salesperson separately. They discussed what problems they were having with the company. One of them, which was huge, was credit card fees. I'm being charged anywhere from 2 to 3.5% on credit card fees. Do we pass those on to the customer, or do we absorb them ourselves? Van brought in a company that is going to save us up to $50,000 a year. An issue Van brought to my attention almost the first day was my accounts receivables was out of control, almost $180,000 when he first stepped in the door. He took that down to $60,000 within the first 4 weeks by putting procedures where we would get 50% down, which puts almost $100,000 into my cash flow.
Because I was working in the business rather than on the business, I lost sight of my pricing models due to inflation and supply chain issues. When John came on, he cracked the books back open, helped me look back at our pricing models, made adjustments, and now we're more competitive and more profitable. When John came on, he created a number of reports for us, from the dashboard, the cash flow management tool, and our company snapshot year to date. These helped me run my company better. He also helped us create an inventory management tool. This inventory management tool helps me control costs and be more profitable. When John came on, he was able to confirm that I was doing a lot of things right. He gave a survey to my employees in which I scored a 5 out of 5, which he said never happens. He then gave me some additional tools and improved upon some of the tools I already had, and now I'm confident that I can tackle any obstacle that comes my way. It was the best business experience I've ever had.
When Shirley got here, he came in and we talked about all of the different things that I was doing in the business. Ultimately, I was managing 2 of the departments and doing all of the work in them all by myself. It was the marketing and finance departments. And what we ended up doing, instead of having me work in the business, the focus was to work on the business. So we hired managers to run those departments, that being the finance and marketing departments. The result of that was fantastic. I mean, I don't work in the business anymore in those departments. We also looked at the other 2 departments that needed some help, that being the production and the sales departments. We were able to hire key people and put them in charge of those. And then ultimately that led to bringing really good KPIs and information to our weekly management meetings. In the result of having those meetings and having those people being accountable and basically a good timeline to complete everything, it increased the productivity by 30%.
Shirley came in, helped us with the finance department. I was involved in the interviewing process. We got to the second interview with this person, and Shirley wanted to do a background check on this person. We pulled it, the report came back, and we found out that there was a grand theft auto and an explosion. So he saved us from a bad hire right off the bat. Another thing he helped us with was dealing with our 1099 employees that we weren't really able to hold accountable, and he transitioned our new sales reps from 1099 into W-2, which we could hold more accountable, and in the end we end up saving about $250,000 in costs by doing that.
Every company, I think, sets goals. We had goals set. We just said, here's our yearly goal that we want to get to, with zero plan. No attention to detail, no how we were going to get there. The biggest thing that John did is he brought in the Matrix, which is a document that we create where we can track that, not on a dream, not on a, how are we going to get there. It's weekly tracking numbers that we put together that tracks how are we going to get to that goal. Along with that came the management team, and when we put together a hierarchy system of where now each person knows what they're responsible for, what they need to bring to the table every week. When we meet here in this room, they bring me their numbers. We sit down, we go through them, division by division, if you will, what everyone is responsible for, and then we can make decisions as a company to, did we make our goal? Did we not make our goal? How do we make that goal? That's the power of what that matrix does and what brings in. So now when we have that goal, now we know how to get there. Now there's a path, and we're getting there, and we're exceeding getting there. So that's what I feel is the greatest thing that John really brought to the table.
So before John came, we really didn't have a cash management system. We didn't really know the money that was coming in, the money that was coming out. It was really stressful. The first thing John did was to establish a cash management. We started to understand exactly what our receivables were, our payables were, how much money we had in the bank, how much money we were going to have in the bank even 4 weeks from today. In the course of all the analyzing that we did with the business, we realized that previously our accounting system worked really well when we were doing a job, starting a job and finishing it within 3 to 4 weeks. Well, once COVID hit and we encountered a supply chain issue with our business, we went from the beginning of a sale, a contract, to nearly 6 months out before it closed. That required a whole new set of accounting. We learned how to distinguish between customer deposits and what was really revenue, because our old accounting system, the numbers on our P&L were not really representing what our revenue was. So the accounting method had to change, and that was a process that John took us through and took my whole team, my whole staff through. John worked tirelessly with us, and we worked really hard. This was a hard project. I've worked harder than I've ever worked before. However, John was in the office an hour before me, and many times he was working 8, 9 o'clock at night. I was getting emails from him telling me what we were going to be tackling the next day. So when I was getting tired and weary, I knew he was trudging right along with me and really putting in the time and the effort to make our dollars that we were spending most efficient and our time most efficient, and I appreciated that about him. When we really got tired and weary, and even my attitude, which is pretty positive, and I am a positive go-to kind of girl, but this was hard and I was getting frustrated, I really appreciated his can-do attitude and positive attitude and just humor and laughter and fun in the midst of it. It really helped me through some of the hard times. I just don't think we would have ever been able to accomplish what we've accomplished without John.
I guess when you think back of where I started with John and kind of where we ended, the proof is really in the numbers, right? That's what we came here to do. So now once where we started, we were not profitable at all. My ADGL was negative $2,000 a day. Now we are profitable, making money on a daily basis. Most weeks since we finished our project, we've actually seen double revenue, which is just amazing. And at the same time that we're doing double revenue, we're hitting our profit goals. So those are things that you can see that are tangible. The other things that are intangible are things like more time with my family, less stress, things that you can't judge on paper, but quality of life has definitely improved as well. As it's stressful being a business owner, this has really helped get some of my life back.
Before Steve came on board, I knew for a fact that I needed to hire more employees. But the problem was I was nervous to do so because of the expense. But through bloodwalling process, Steve helped me realize that I could afford these employees and increase productivity. We ended up increasing productivity by about 20%.
Steve helped us develop a cash management system. This helped us to see where the cash was in our business and helped us to predict the future of our business. This took a lot of stress off of Joe and I within our business and our marriage. When Steve came to work with us, he helped us create weekly meetings that both our cabinetry and construction crews would get together with us right here in this showroom to help develop a plan for our jobs that were currently being built and the future ones coming up. This allowed us to tackle obstacles together before they even became a challenge, and it increased our productivity greatly. Being business partners and husband and wife at the same time can have its challenges. One thing that we really struggled with was taking our business home with us at the end of the day and discussing there at home. Often throughout the day we wouldn't be able to see each other because we were wearing so many different hats and trying to achieve so many things. So at the end of the day, when we were in our own home, is when we would bring up these work issues that needed to be resolved or just discuss some things that happened throughout the day.
Yeah, with rapid business growth, we had to deal with so many different things and we had to fill so many holes that were in our company. And with Steve's help, we really got that figured out, but what was most important to me was I wanted Tasha to be happy with what she was doing in her everyday career, and also I wanted to see the business grow, but the family was the absolute most important thing to me.
So by opening up our communication and allowing our roles to kind of change a little bit, we were able to come home at the end of the day and be a family, be husband and wife, and that truly was priceless to us to have that back again.